You need to hear this immediately, before any explanation makes you feel comfortable again. Before your brain starts negotiating with reality, before you turn this into motivation and lose the blade. If you disappear, money doesn't slow down. It doesn't stop to wait for you to finish learning. It doesn't ease off because you're preparing. It doesn't care that you're busy, trying, improving, or in process. Money keeps moving, cold, precise, without looking back. And this truth is so ruthless most people dodge it, because it kills a very soothing illusion. The illusion that money has feelings, memory, morality, that it notices effort, that it honors presence, that if you are hardworking enough, loyal enough, consistently there, it will eventually reward you and wait for you. It won't. Money is indifferent. It does not know who you are. It does not care what you sacrificed. It does not distinguish between the one who tries and the one who controls. It simply flows. And it flows through structure, not through people. The moment you truly understand this, something cold runs down your spine, because it forces a dangerous question. If you vanish from the game, what actually changes? Most people live their entire lives inside a lethal confusion. They believe money is created by participation, by showing up, by working hard, by being available, by always being on. It's a comforting belief because it lets you feel like you're doing the right thing. It lets you feel respectable. It lets you feel safe. But it is also the system's perfect trap. Money doesn't reward the participant. It rewards the point where decisions are made. You can show up for 20 years and remain economically invisible if you're not standing where money is forced to pass. Let me be blunt. Your absence is not a problem for money. It's not even an event. It's not worth recording. The system doesn't collapse when you leave. It adjusts. Someone else steps in. Another supplier appears. Another process activates. The machine keeps running, and money never asks, where did he go? Not because it's cruel, because it was built that way. This is where most people get uncomfortable, because they confuse being busy with being important. They assume that because they're needed every day, they're irreplaceable. The truth is the opposite. The easiest thing to replace is daily usefulness. The hardest thing to replace is position, not activity, not skill, not effort, not work ethic. Position is the point where if you leave, the cash flow is forced to rerot. Here is the clean test. If you disappear and money has to find another path, you once had position. If you disappear and money flows uninterrupted, you never did. That's the only test that can't lie. Not how good you are, not how much you work, not how many people need you. But what actually breaks when you withdraw? And most people never dare to ask because deep down they already know the answer. Nothing stops. Emails still go out, shipments still deliver, payments still clear. Money keeps moving. This realization isn't merely uncomfortable, it's destructive because it exposes a truth you were never taught. Presence is not power. Participation is not control. And if money continues flowing when you're absent, then one possibility becomes painfully clear. It never flowed through you in the first place. Now understand the core illusion. The core illusion that keeps you exactly where the system needs you isn't simply work hard and money will come. That's too obvious. It's subtler, the belief that presence itself creates value. That if you stay long enough, participate deeply enough, understand enough, money will start treating you as indispensable. It's the perfect sedative because it keeps you busy without making you dangerous. It keeps you inside the stream of activity while leaving you outside the stream of decisions. You were trained to believe money is a reward for personal effort, but money doesn't reward. It allocates, and it allocates based on structure, not intention. That distinction matters. Effort is subjective. Only you can feel it. Structure is objective. It exists whether you show up or not. Once you confuse these two, you start believing money owes you an outcome. Money owes nobody. It simply travels along paths that already exist. This illusion survives because it is reinforced daily. The system praises you for working hard. Managers thank you for being available. Colleagues lean on you because you're always present, and you mistake social recognition for economic leverage. I'll say it cleanly, being needed is not the same as being irreplaceable. In fact, the people needed most are often the easiest to replace because their roles were designed to be copied, trained, and scaled. You believe money follows people. Money follows roots. Those roots are built from ownership, approval rights, distribution control, and exclusion power. If you don't hold at least one of these rights, your presence is decoration. You can be in the meeting room without being in the decision. You can understand the entire process without controlling the bottleneck. And money, cold as it is, slides past you to somewhere else. The biggest illusion is thinking absence is the risk. In reality, absence is only a risk for people without position. A leveraged person can disappear, and the system must wait. An unleveraged person disappears, and the system doesn't even notice. That's the difference between a participant and an architect. So when you hear, money does not wait for you, don't treat it as a threat. Treat it as an exact description of an indifferent reality. Money won't slow down to match your personal development timeline. It won't stop to check if you're ready. If you're not in the right position, when it passes, it won't circle back. And this is where the illusion collapses. Money didn't abandon you. It was never traveling with you. Now we enter the poor mechanism, the engine that keeps most people trapped. The poor mechanism doesn't begin with a lack of money. It begins with a false identity, the identity of the one who shows up. The always involved, the always busy, the always available when the system calls. You were taught this is virtue, reliable, admirable, respectable. And that identity locks you into a position money can bypass without friction. You become part of the motion, not part of the decision. The poor mechanism runs on controlled business. You do more, handle more, fix more small problems, but you never touch the point where cash flow is truly blocked or released. You respond to demands instead of setting conditions. You optimize efficiency instead of controlling direction. And every time you perform your role better, the system has even less reason to give you real power, because you're proving you are most useful without it. People trapped in the poor mechanism often feel proud of being essential to daily operations. That pride is dangerous self-deception. Anything that runs daily is designed to be replaceable. Procedures are written so someone else can take over. Systems are standardized so they don't depend on a single person. And when you become too good at keeping the wheels turning, you get welded into the role of wheel turner, not the one who decides where the wheel goes. The mechanism also exploits your deepest fear, the fear of becoming unnecessary. So you stay present everywhere. You answer every message, attend every meeting, solve every issue. That constant presence creates the illusion of control. But in truth, it only proves the system can rely on you without granting you the authority to shape it. You're always there, so there's no need to secure you. The result is a special kind of poverty of leverage. You have skills, experience, knowledge, but you don't hold a position that forces money to stop and ask permission. When you're absent, the system slows slightly, then continues. When you leave, money changes lanes without changing direction. And deep down, you feel it, an ongoing quiet unease. You do a lot, but you don't touch anything that truly matters. That is the trap. It rewards presence and punishes irreplaceability. It keeps you busy while keeping you outside the center. It makes you believe that if you continue long enough, money will notice you. But money doesn't notice people. It notices structure. And as long as you define your value by showing up, you remain outside the route where money actually travels. Now, the rich mechanism. The rich mechanism begins the moment you invert your relationship with presence. A leveraged person doesn't try to appear everywhere. They aim to be impossible to ignore in one place. They don't build value through participation. They build it through disruption. The disruption that occurs if they withdraw. That is the foundational difference between someone who works inside cash flow and someone who controls cash flow. In the rich mechanism, you don't ask, "How much am I doing?" You ask, "What am I blocking?" You don't optimize speed. You optimize the bottleneck. You don't try to become more helpful. You become structurally necessary. This requires stepping out of roles where replaceability is a design goal and stepping into positions where replaceability is a system risk. In that zone, your absence is not a temporary gap. It's a disruption with consequences. The rich mechanism accepts what the poor mechanism refuses. Money doesn't accumulate where the most labor happens. It accumulates where the most control exists. And control does not come from knowing every detail. It comes from holding one decision that cannot be bypassed, a signature, an approval right, an access gate, an ownership layer, a relationship that cannot be copied quickly. Once you stand there, you don't chase money. Money is forced to pass through you. People who operate the rich mechanism have a different relationship with absence. They can vanish from meetings, from daily operations, from noisy activity, and it doesn't weaken them. It increases tension. Others must wait, must ask, must seek permission. And inside that waiting, power consolidates. They don't show up to prove value. They show up at the correct moment to lock the decision. This mechanism demands you accept an unpleasant truth. Most work that looks important produces no leverage. It produces the sensation of usefulness. The rich are willing to abandon roles that earn praise and move into roles that earn caution, because praise doesn't create power. Dependence does. When you operate the rich mechanism, your presence becomes expensive because it becomes scarce. You're not everywhere. So when you appear, Decisions must be made, and when you don't appear, things must either stop or reroute. This is the only real indicator of position, not how often you're present, but what money is forced to do differently when you aren't. At that point, money doesn't merely pass through you, it gets held. It proceeds only when you allow it. Now we reach Machiavellian engineering, the shift from present, but invisible to absent, yet decisive. You don't need to work harder. You need to rebuild the way economic power is anchored to your position. This is where engineering begins, not as morality, but as mechanics. Money doesn't respond to intention. It responds to structure, and structure can be designed. Principle 1: money only stops where there is the right to refuse. If you cannot say no and still make cash flow wait, you have no leverage. The poor ask permission to participate. The rich force others to ask permission to proceed. The right to refuse is the most basic gate. All economic power is a variation of controlling who advances and who gets cut out of the stream. Principle 2: ownership beats effort. Not ownership as a legal fantasy, but ownership of the node, contractual, relational, or infrastructural, something that cannot be bypassed without cost. When you own a section of the pipeline, you don't need to pump the water. The flow arrives, and every drop must pass through what you control. Principle 3: distribution is stronger than production. The poor focus on making. The rich focus on controlling the exit. You can create the best thing in the world, but if you don't control who gets access, when, and at what price, you are building for someone else. Distribution is where money accelerates. Production is the origin point. Distribution is the choke point. Principle 4: replaceability is failure scheduled in advance. If your role can be trained in 6 weeks, it was designed so you can disappear without causing pain. The rich actively avoid roles like this, not out of arrogance, but because power does not live inside what multiplies easily. The more copyable you are, the less valuable your absence becomes. Principle 5: tempo control creates advantage. Whoever decides when something happens decides who wins. The poor react to deadlines. The rich set them. When you control timing, you control pressure. And pressure controls price, terms, and concessions. Tempo is invisible leverage. Most people never notice. Money notices perfectly. These principles don't make you evil. They give you position. And in the world of money, position matters more than effort, morality, and even intelligence. When you apply Machiavellian engineering, you stop running after the stream and start shaping the channel. From that moment, your absence is no longer a deficiency. It becomes a signal that forces the system to slow down, adjust, and wait. And money, for the first time, stops moving forward without you. Now the dark truths, the ones that make it impossible to return to your old view of work, money, or personal value. That is precisely why most people refuse to look. Truth 1: most hard-working people aren't underpaid because they lack competence. They're underpaid because they are positioned exactly where the system wants them, where their disappearance does not disrupt cash flow. The system doesn't need to pay heavily for roles designed to be replaced. It only needs to keep them busy enough that they don't search for another route. Truth 2: money doesn't flow toward higher morality. It flows toward lower risk for the system, and the system's greatest risk is dependence on an individual it cannot control. That is why the system praises devotion while quietly refusing to hand real power to the overly present. Constant presence looks like commitment. To money, it looks like manageability, and what can be managed does not need to be priced high. Truth 3. The sensation of being needed is more addictive than money. It keeps you in roles that exhaust you without enriching you. It makes you trade leverage for recognition, and the system exploits this flawlessly. It gives you daily importance, so it never has to grant you long-term authority. You get called, texted, requested, but you're not invited into the room where decisions get locked. Truth 4. If your absence creates crisis, you have power. If it creates mere inconvenience, you have obligation. The system is extremely skilled at separating the two. It doesn't pay for obligation. It pays for risk. And risk appears only when dependence becomes dangerous. Everything else is operations. Truth 5. The most painful, most people aren't poor because they lack opportunity. They're poor because they fear stepping into positions that invite judgment, resentment, and the label of difficult. Leverage positions come with conflict. They require refusing, blocking, excluding, controlling. Pleasant presence gets welcomed. Disruptive absence gets avoided. And money, without morality, without emotion, moves directly toward whoever can create the most discomfort for the system if they disappear. These truths aren't meant to make you bitter. They're meant to make you lucid. Because once you understand money doesn't reward presence, but rewards indispensability, you stop lying to yourself with business. You start staring at the only dangerous question that matters. If tomorrow you withdraw completely, what truly collapses? And if the answer is nothing, the problem is not money. It's the position you're standing in. Now let's make it concrete. Real-world arenas where money moves fastest and most ruthlessly. In corporate life, you'll notice the people who are always present, the fastest email responders, the best crisis handlers. The heaviest lifters are often not the ones who get rich. They keep the machine running smoothly, and because of that, the machine is designed to run without them. When they take vacation, a procedure activates. Someone else covers. Revenue doesn't stop. Meanwhile, the person who controls major contracts, signature authority, or key distribution relationships can be absent for weeks, even months, and the organization still has to wait on their decision. No one cares if they're busy or free. They care when the nod comes. Money doesn't flow through the busiest desk. It flows through the signing table. In markets and investing, the mechanism is even clearer. The people who track prices by the minute, read every report, understand every metric, are often not the biggest winners. They're present in the information layer, but absent from the decision rights layer. The truly wealthy control access, who gets funded when a round opens, what the terms are. When they go quiet, the deal freezes. When they pull back, capital reroutes. Their absence is not ignored. It creates pressure, and pressure is value. In personal relationships and social power, the lesson is harder to swallow. The person who is always there, always attentive, always ready, believes they're building value. In reality, they're building predictability. And whatever is predictable has no leverage. The one with power in the relationship is often the one who can withdraw and shift the balance. Not because they are cruel, but because they control the point where emotion, resources, or decisions must pass. When they are absent, the other person feels real loss. When the always present person is absent, life continues. 3 arenas. 1. Laws. Money and power do not attach to presence. They attach to position that creates dependence. The busiest person is rarely the decider. The decider rarely needs to be busy. Once you see the world through this lens, you stop asking why you do more yet accumulate less. The answer is blunt. You're standing where the system wants your presence, not where it fears your absence. Now the power shift statement, the pivot most people never make. The power shift doesn't happen when you add one more task. It happens when you dare to drop a role. The role that keeps you constantly present but produces no pressure. The role that makes you feel important daily but doesn't make the system uneasy when you withdraw. This is the psychological fracture most people never cross, because it demands you trade the comfort of being needed for a real position. From here on, your question must change. Not, how much am I contributing? But, what am I controlling? Not, where am I present? But, where can I be absent and everything still must wait? The moment you ask that, many things you once took pride in will reveal themselves as leverage null. That hurts. It's also necessary. It is the price of escaping invisible business. And understand this. A real power shift means accepting misinterpretation. When you reduce your presence, people will call you lazy. When you refuse to participate, they'll call you uncooperative. When you hold decision rights, they'll call you difficult. That is the cost of position. The unleveraged need to be loved to survive. The leveraged only need to be accounted for. Those two rarely coexist. Your new posture is cold selectivity. You don't show up to maintain an image. You show up to lock outcomes. You don't react to every movement in the system. You force the system to react to your silence. Your absence stops being a weakness. It becomes proof of unused authority. When you shift like this, money starts behaving differently. It slows. It waits. It reroutes to avoid collision with the point you hold. Not because you're special, but because you're correctly placed. From there, your objective stops being keeping up with the flow and becomes deciding when the flow is allowed to continue. This is the moment you stop measuring value by presence and start measuring it by necessity. And now the final blade, the one you can't pull out once it's inside. If you disappear today, and money keeps moving as if you never existed, then the truth is already settled. You were never inside the power stream. You stood near it, watched it, explained it, and soothed yourself with the idea that your presence mattered. But money doesn't reward proximity. It responds to control. Don't ask why you're busy yet trapped. Don't ask why others can be absent more yet accumulate faster. The answer sits in one place. Money doesn't count your hours of presence. It measures what happens when you are not there. If nothing stops, you're not someone the system needs to retain. And what doesn't need to be retained will never be priced highly. From this moment on, you lose the right to hide behind hard work. You lose the right to glorify sacrifice. You lose the right to confuse business with importance. Either you step into a position where your absence creates real pressure, or you accept the cold truth. Money will keep moving, and it will never ask where you are. If you're absent, money keeps moving. Not because you're worthless, because you're standing in the wrong place. And this world does not pay for effort spent searching for a route. It pays the ones who can block the route, redirect the route, own the gate, control the exit, and set the tempo. So the question isn't whether you're working hard. The question is whether your absence has a price. Because if your absence is free, you are not positioned. And money doesn't negotiate with the unpositioned. It passes them, it replaces them, it forgets them, and it moves on.